If you are a South Sudanese, you must have come across the training news happening currently in the country about the resettlement plan of Palestinian people inside the country. It was such a huge news, and many people are shocked, and many people are still now in disbelief. They don't want to believe that it is happening. Even me, the first time I came across the news, I thought it was a propaganda created by a government critic to make the government look bad. But lately, I realized the news is true and it is actually happening, and the government is in the process of making it effective. But what caught my attention was the reaction of South Sudanese toward this huge news. I realized that most South Sudanese were just reacting to such news. Actually, they don't know what does it look like. And it is better for you, before you blame the government, before you do everything you want to say it, you need to better understand what is this resettlement plan, how does it look like, and did such similar cases ever happen in the history of the world? Those are the things you need to understand. After you understand that, this whereby you will come understand what is happening now in the country. And now I want to take you through some of the similar cases that has ever happened in the world, and how did people treat them during such time. Now, to start with, the first thing that I will take it is South Sudan. South Sudan, this thing has ever happened in South Sudan. Up to now, we still call them Lost Boys of Sudan. Here is how this thing happened, Lost Boys of Sudan. In 1983, when the war broke out between Anyanya and Sudanese government, many people were displaced. Millions of people were displaced to neighboring countries like Kenya and Uganda and others to Congo. Now when these people reached there, the UN coordinated the resettlement plan, what we term today to be Lost Boys of Sudan. They were taken to various countries like Australia, USA, and Canada, and they were given the permanent residency in those countries. And some of them now have already got their citizenship, and they are staying in those countries. And even now, I've been hearing that there's a South Sudanese community in Australia, a big community living in Australia, and they are South Sudanese, and they are staying in that country as a citizen of Australia. So another incident that happened is in Uganda here, in our neighboring country called Uganda. It happened during the regime of Idi Amin in 1972. He expelled 60,000 Indians, and it was such a huge number of people which Indian cannot take. So what happened was that the Canada and UK take a majority of people and give them a resettlement plan, and they were given a permanent residency, and eventually they get their citizenship in those countries. Up to now, they're still staying in those countries, and they have citizenship, and they are just enjoying all the rights of those countries. Another thing is Vietnam. It happened in Vietnam War, when Vietnam was fighting. Millions of people were displaced, and they were also given a resettlement plan in USA and UK. And even in Sudan here, there were the people called Ethiopian Jews. These people were in 1984 to 1985, when the SPLA started their war in Sudan. They were in Sudan refugees camp. They were taken with help of USA. They were taken to Israel, and they were given the citizenship straight away. So those are the things that happen, similar to what is currently about to happen in the country. Now, you might confuse this as a UN settlement plan with this. This one is totally different, and they are not the same in one way or another. Now, in the UN settlement plan, you have the right to what they call it, the right of return. Refugees staying in the UN camp can return back to their country of origin if they want it to go back. And also the hosting countries to the refugees may not grant you a citizenship of the country. You may be denied to have access to the citizenship. For example, in Uganda here now, those South Sudanese staying there, it's very hard to get a citizenship. And even you have a restriction in the land ownership. You may not be allowed to own the land if you are a refugee. But here, this resettlement plan is totally different, and it is permanent. It is not temporary. It is permanent, and you will be like we are going to, if the government allowed these people to come in the country, like we are going to have a new community of Palestinian inside South Sudan, like what is now in, like our South Sudanese now staying in Australia. And they are going to stay here. They are going to have a right to own the land, and they are going to stay. And if they meet a constitutional right to achieve a citizenship, they will be given the citizenship of South Sudan, and they will be staying, and they will have right to enjoy everything South Sudanese are enjoying. That's what makes it different. But still, there are some questions that need to be understood. Out of 54 countries of Africa, why that South Sudan is the target to these Palestinian people? Why? That thing is also confusing a lot of people, but with the time we are going to understand, and those are the things you should be making research for you to understand before you start insulting the government. You need to understand most of this thing. Then after that, this whereby now you are free to go and talk. Okay, thank you so much. Maybe I will come back to make another video to something concerning this, which is so alarming. There are a lot of questions need to be answered. Thank you so much.